garden friends. Today is the day of reckoning. Just kidding. It's the day of planting.
Hi.
Yes, one of my kids climb trees. So I am going to attempt to get as many plants in the ground today as possible. I'm starting with peppers because it's in the shade. And I need eggs. I have to have eggs to plant my tomatoes, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So anyway, let me show you how I'm going about this.
Hi.
Okay. So what I do is I come out here. I've already measured my garden space, so I know about how many plants I want to put in here. But then what I do is I come out and I just sort of space them out. I get them in the arrangement that I want, and then I can pare down if I need to, or add if I'm able to. So I really don't need to add any more plants at this point. But I'm going to start lining them out and deciding how I want to put them in before I put them in the ground. Now with the tomatoes, I will do the same thing. I'm going to put the cherry tomatoes right here at the front. So as that we're coming into the garden, we can pick and eat as we choose. And I'm going to put the bigger tomatoes back this way, and then the eggplant and artichoke, I think. When I'm planting tomatoes, I actually put an egg at the bottom of the hole that I dig. It was a little, and I will talk more about that when I'm doing it. So hang on for that information. But yes, I'm going to come out and lay these out here as well, just so I know where placement is. So I'm putting peppers, really only need like a square foot per plant. So I'm putting about a foot between them. And then I'm going to actually get my measuring tape, and I'm going to measure 18 inches between each of the tomato plants, which should give me 12 plants per side for a 16-foot trellis. And the reason I'm able to plant them closer together is because I am trellising them up and I prune them to one stem. I talked extensively about my pruning technique last summer. If you want to scroll down, you can type in the topic tomatoes and look up any of my videos from last year. And then when I'm planting the tomatoes, I'll talk more about the egg trick that I use that seems to really help my tomatoes last year, and also how I prune them. It's gonna be a little difficult to show you that now since they're just seedlings, but I'll kind of tell you what I do. And then as they get bigger, obviously I'll show you my pruning technique as how I keep them to one stem. And that's only for indeterminate tomatoes, not for determinate. I don't prune those. Can I just say that this year I am so grateful for helpers. What do you guys think?
It's fun.
It's fun. You're doing a good job. So all they're doing, because the soil is so loamy, which means soft and not firm, is they're literally just moving the dirt to the side and the mulch, setting the plant. I've taught them how to squeeze the bottom of the cup to gently release the plant into their hands. You gotta turn it upside down, Maddie. Squeeze the plant. There you go. Get ready to catch it. There you go. Perfect. Yep. Then they set it down in the hole, and then they just cover it back up and push gently. Got to push it down into the hole gently and then cover it back up. Yep. Good job, girls.
It's the side of the hopper.
All right, so this is for my garden journal, but I'll include it in the video, telling you what I've planted. I've got one garden treasure. Golden treasure. 2 sugar peach rush. 3, wait, what's this one?
This is.
What does this say?
That is.
King. Oh, okay. Yeah, king of the north. Here's my 2 habanadas, 2 nadapinos, 2 corno di toro, 2 ancho gigantes, 2 serranos, 2 jalapenos. Now, my thinking is I have planted from the hottest pepper I have, which is the jalapeno, all the way to the sweetest. And the reason is because I like organization. The other reason is because these can cross-pollinate. And though this season they will remain as they're supposed to taste, if I were to save the seeds from these cross-pollinated plants, they might taste different next year. And in particular, the spicier plants tend to dominate. So if a bee pollinated a spicy plant and then flew over here and pollinated a sweet plant, next year it might have spice to it. So if I keep most of the non-spicy plants over here and the spicy plants over here, then I'm at least giving a little bit of a deterrent there. But Anyway, I like organization too. So we've gone from hot to sweet, which is kind of cool. Thanks, Kenley. Ready for tomatoes?
Yeah.
All right, so we have the tomatoes placed every 18 inches, which my daughter, okay, go inside and cool off.
I'm dying.
Take those cups, bring those cups over here and put them in here.
I think I'm dying.
You're not dying. Bring the spade too. She doesn't do well in the heat. Anyway, we spaced them out 18 inches apart all the way down. And now I'm going to show you a couple of tricks that I do whenever I'm planting tomatoes. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig a pretty deep hole for these plants. Because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to plant them all the way up to this first set of leaves. Because all of these really fine hairs that you see, let me see if I can focus on it, that you see on a tomato plant, it's not wanting to focus, I apologize, but you know what I'm talking about. Tomatoes have all these little fine hairs on their stems. All of those will turn into root systems if they are allowed to thrive underground. So as tall as this guy is, I'm actually going to plant half this stem underground. And at the bottom of the hole, I am going to crack an egg from our chickens and put it at the bottom of the hole. So I need to go a little deeper here because it's still not as deep as I want.
I think I'm going to skip down. What's up, Joey? I found it, and then you want some out. Yeah, good.
Okay, so just to test it, I'm gonna put my cup down in there. And we're pretty close. I'm gonna dig a little bit more out. Okay, so I'm gonna call that good. I'm gonna take an egg, the whole thing. I'm gonna put it down in there. I'm gonna crack it, just one good crack with my spade. And then I'm going to put my tomato plant in there. I have a really great root system on this. They're sticking together really nicely. So I'm going to set this down in there. Hey, Merritt, you need to take off that shirt. Take off that shirt because that's for your game tonight. Okay? And depending on how much dirt, I may or may not take these leaves off. So I'm just going to start filling it back in. This is interesting to do with one hand. With the dirt. So I am actually going to go ahead and pick these off. That one at least. And the thing about this is that those, you don't want leaves touching the ground because those are the ones that'll get spoiled quicker. So if they're down here touching your soil, then you might as well just pick them off. And that's part of my pruning system that I do anyway. And you can just leave them in the dirt. They'll decompose. But there you go. That is my system. So dig a hole deep enough. If you have a smaller plant like this, I will probably, again, go halfway down on the stem. So I won't have to go as deep as I will with these taller plants. So I'm just gonna keep on going. Okay, so I have to say that I am completely surprised, but we were able to get everything planted in the ground today. All the peppers, all the tomatoes, the artichokes, the herbs. I had a bunch of basil and miniature basil and chives that I wanted to put in, and the eggplant, and even my determinate tomatoes that I had considered potting. We got all of that in the ground. I am totally surprised, and I survived. And so I am really excited that that is done. And it was pretty warm out here today. I was kind of worried that a couple of the plants might suffer some sun scarring or some sun damage, but really everything looks really great. And after this video, I'm going to do another good water. I had my irrigation system that I have set up from last year get these tomatoes watered, but I've got to take care of the peppers over here, which thankfully are all still looking really sprightly. So let me just do a quick walkthrough, and yay, the summer has begun. Okay, so here we are at the tomato trellis right here. And at this end, I went ahead and planted the 3 eggplants that I want to keep. I'm hoping I grabbed the 3 different varieties that came in that mix. I was trying to look at the leaves and see which ones were different looking. So I'm kind of hoping I got all 3. And they don't need as much space as the tomatoes. So I just went ahead and put them in here. And then on this side, I did all my cherry tomatoes. So I have my Mexico Midget, which is my red cherry tomato, my Napa Chardonnay, which was my absolute favorite of all my tomatoes last year. It's sort of a Chardonnay color, and it was just the most amazing flavor. So I have that there. I have my blueberry cherry, and then my itty bitty little Eagle Heart down there, who I really hope pulls through, because those were really good too. So I have all my cherry tomatoes right here in this first row, and then down here I have my yellow beefsteaks. So I have Dr. Witchies here, and my gold medals here, and then my pork chop, which is like the yellow green tomato, and my barred rock, which is actually the striped red and green. And it's funny having barred rock chickens, which are also sort of striped. I wonder if that tomato was named after them. I'm not sure. But so that's what I have planted here. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tomatoes on this row with the eggplants on this end. And then I did my determinate silvery fir trees here because they don't need as much space to grow. They don't necessarily need to be trellised either. So I have one here, one here. I planted some aster in here in the ground today, and then my other silvery fir right there. So they, I kind of took up this little kind of narrow space I have here on the walkway to plant those little tomatoes, because they just won't take up the space that the determinate tomatoes will. And then on this side, I did the Tomatillo right here. And thank the Lord he will have a good trellising system this year, because last year they were just nutty over there where I had it, and they just are huge and prolific. So he has plenty of room to grow. I did my Genovese Castelludos here, 2 of those. And then my Pompeys here. And these are this is kind of like my canning tomato row. So all of these are gonna be good for canning. My Pompey Romas, so like Roma tomatoes. And then, oh heavens, these did not get labeled. So I'm gonna have to figure out which those 2 are. Oops, I can figure it out. This is my one painted lady, and then my 2 German pinks. So my German pinks were like, and my gold medals over there were my all-star tomatoes last year. They were my 3-pounders. So I have them down on this end where they have plenty of room to grow. And now I've just got to figure out what those 2 plants are. That's funny. I just realized these are my crushed heart tomatoes. These are my ox heart tomatoes, which are also really good for canning. I really loved these, and they're beautiful. So on this row, I think I also have 10. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. So that's 20 indeterminate tomato plants and 3 determinate. So that's 23. Not too bad. And then over here, like I showed you earlier, these are my peppers. They're also looking really good. And then I just came in and planted some basil in front of them. I can say basil and peppers do really well together. So I've got miniature basil here. Aren't they cute? They're real flowery looking, so I really like those. But there it is. And then just your typical Italian basil here. And I interplanted some, like I told you, daisies, and then some chives that I had. I kind of put in here as well. So that's really it for planting out for me. I did not get to the seeds that I wanted to plant. So I have, how many do I have? 2, 3, 2, at least 2 different melons I want to try that I'm going to put over in that corner there. And once we get the chickens in their yard permanently, I may try to do some melons on the outside of their run, just so they can vine up and give them some shade. But I have 2 different cantaloupes, possibly 3, and then definitely doing a sugar baby watermelon, which are the smaller ones. And I may try to do the golden midget that I did last year. The ones that we had did not do very well, so I don't know. I may try. I definitely want to do the sugar baby and the 2 melons, which I can post a picture of on the forum. Get those planted in. I have some bush beans that I want to plant, some more radishes because I'm succession planting radishes about every 2 weeks right now. And there was something else I was going to plant today. I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, I will get to those tomorrow. So I feel really successful for what was done today, and it's really exciting just to see this garden coming alive. So let me know what's going in your neck of the woods, and good luck to you guys as you plant out if you already haven't.